I sit during my work hours. I come here to Oxford, as a sort of, I don't know, I just drive through the countryside and I come here and there are like young ladies, young honeys walking around everywhere. And I sit there in my parking in my car with my fucking uniform. And I sit there for like 40 minutes waiting for the right time to enter and retrieve the specimens. What are your thoughts about that? Are there archetypes or deeper meanings to that strike you about this sense of a lost something, a kind of a return of a loser to like a college life he never had, now kind of in almost like a pizza boy or something?
No, I've never read that much into it.
Yeah, right. It's like, why would you give a shit about something like that? Why would you possibly give a shit? Mr. Robbins, can you document my this do you feel less safe with me as a driver?
Wearing flip-flops?
Yeah.
No, I'm actually quite impressed. I'm a big fan of the Adidas brand.
Oh, okay. All right, well, Mr. Robbins cares more about Adidas than he does about his own life. And with that thought, we will wander around here like two creeps. Alright, Matt, well, here we are, and in some sort of a shady area here in the town of Oxford. I see some ladies walking by. You are connected to this place, and why were you here before?
I grew up in a little town in Indiana, maybe, I'm going to guess, 15 to 20 miles away from here, and a very small town, very rural town, and
This was your metropolis.
In a way, during my teenage years, once I, got the ability to drive and actually make my way outside of my little town, this was a pretty cool and interesting place to come, especially for like the comic book shops. And there was a bookstore over there that I remember buying some kind of neat stuff from.
So the beginning of the unraveling of the petals of your lotus of autism have started here.
I was certainly exposed to things over here that I didn't get the exposure to where I grew up. The music, there were some really cool record stores around here that had things that I couldn't find elsewhere, even within a bigger city like Cincinnati. A couple of, this college town record store that carried like really obscure titles was cool. It was the lure of that kind of thing that really, kept me coming back to a little place like this.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever have like a lady friend here, or?
No. Once I got to college age myself, I went to school somewhere.
Okay.
Far away. So no, that never happened.
Okay, so no loss of innocence here.
No.
Just an acquisition.
Yes.
And finally, can you explain your shirt here?
Well,
and whether this is excusable for a man your age?
Yes, I'm sure that it's not, but I'll bear the burden of the humiliation of wearing Morrissey. The idea was that in a town like this, typically filled with well-educated young ladies, that they might see something like this in me and recognize the tenderness in a man of my age wearing a Morrissey shirt.
A sort of a youthful tenderness.
Exactly.
And so then the question is, like, do you think that perhaps this is too much? That this is like a kind of almost an imposition of your fucking tenderness nobody fucking wants? That this is like a violation of the spirit of consent that the youth are known for?
Well, I've tried to think this through, and that even if it doesn't work out necessarily for me, if I'm seen as the beta within this relationship between you and I, as wearing the Morrissey shirt, all the better for you.
Okay. Do you think that, what about Morrissey? How does he fit in here?
Well, his sexual ambiguity, his veganism, I think all sort of engender a feeling of non-threateningness.
So as you watch children play there and, okay, well, ladies walking around, do you feel a sense of nostalgia, a sense of ennui or whatever the fuck, about the fact that you said there was like some record store there or something?
Yeah, I do a little bit. I mean, so much has changed. I very rarely, I mean, once in every 4 or 5 years probably make it over here, and to see how much that used to be here is now gone.
It seems a little bit kind of generic now. Did it feel this way before? Like, feels a little bit like a nice mall or a little bit, no?
No, I wouldn't say that the vibe of it was all that much different than what I'm getting now. I mean, just back in those days, there was a little more of an excitement for me to come over here, knowing that I could visit some cool shops and see things that I wouldn't otherwise normally see. But I mean, that's pretty much gone now.
Yeah, but no great pain. You're not a man of nostalgia who's scarred by the claw of nostalgia.
No. In fact, I generally don't care for that.
Oh, okay. Well, here's the difference between myself and Mr. Robbins, and I have already, like a moron, turned the microphone, the camera away from him as he was talking, so this is time to wrap up this specific segment of our trip to Oxford.
And you didn't have to be ashamed to sell beer this way.
Okay, yeah. You're right.
See?
I guess, I mean.
It's like, what do men like? Well, many men like beer, and many men like honeys.
Okay.
So why not put it together into one complete package?
Yeah.
It's like a cupcake and icing. They go together. You wouldn't just want the cake. You know, for nostalgia's sake, I'm tempted to buy one of these. All of this box contains, well, how much are they? I'd consider buying one.
It's kind of like when men like beer like that, in a sense there's like no actual libido left. It's all over at this point. It's kind of like when men like beer like that, in a sense there's like no actual libido left. It's all over at this point. Hey guys, you I'm sure can hear the wind and probably cannot hear me because I still haven't purchased a normal decent microphone because I'm cheap, but also, well no, I actually have no money. I have no money. Which is not to say you shouldn't leave this pointless Patreon. That's not to say that at all. Mr. Robbins and I have been to Oxford and our trip has concluded. I was looking for secrets of Oxford. I was looking for its inner kind of some sort of a core and some sort of depth. And frankly, I found like next to nothing. What are your thoughts, Mr. Robbins? This place seems like it's like an embryo of a hipster town, not even a fetus of a hipster town, but an embryo that has landed in the middle of like Ohio cornfields. And so it has a certain beginning of something, but then you see around angular buildings that look like some mall, look like a office space, something like that. Office architecture. Mr. Robbins, your thoughts?
Yeah, I can see that. In and of itself, there's not a lot to the town that's really that much different than a lot of other places. I think part of it, especially now, may have to do with the students being gone. I think there may be a different feel or a much different vibe to the city or to the town overall if you had a lot of, young people who frankly are probably toward the top of the at least kind of the middle class social economic change or structure. You know, people who are probably on the cusp of doing very well for themselves.
Yeah, but okay, so that dispels something. And how was your Morrissey shirt?
Well, the Morrissey has not borne any fruit as far as drawing any of the young Oxford co-eds our way. It's to this point been proven to be a poor game plan.
There was an old lady at the antique shop who did take an interest.
Yes, she did inquire who it was, and I mentioned that it was Morrissey. She gave me the name of another person named Morrissey, who I had as little clue who she was referring as she had to who the singer of the Smiths is.
Do you feel that, actually, to be honest, I'm barely aware of who he is,
Okay.
Morrissey. But it doesn't matter. But do you feel kind of a transference of tenderness took place there? Any sort of a tender note?
Between she and I?
Yeah.
No.
No,
I didn't
there
get
was
that
nothing.
feeling.
So when we started filming this pointless video, after the first shot, Mr. Robbins pointed out that the brand of my slippers have really kind of increased his confidence as to my ability to drive in them, and you felt more secure considering these are the Adidas brand. Could you elaborate on that?
Yes, I'm a big fan of the Adidas and Puma brands. It somehow instills a confidence in me that I can't fully explain.
Only a kind of a confidence born in 1930s and 40s Germany.
Correct. With the history of the offshoot of his brother creating the Puma brand.
And so, confidence. What about Nike?
Not a big fan.
Jordans, no.
No.
Kind of more flash than substance or something.
And at this point, I'm very skeptical of Under Armour. There's a part of me that wants to root for them as sort of the underdog, but as an American brand, I'm still skeptical.
Well, in any case, I do take the slipper off when I drive, so I don't know. It's just the slipper becomes just like an obstacle that kind of, can tumble around and interfere with the brakes. But in and of itself, I'm in full control with actually on my foot. Because under these cars specifically, there's a kind of a steep incline, I think. I should know because I drive a regular sedan for work in a cargo van, so I should kind of estimate that shit, but I don't. Mr. Robbins, final thoughts.
I've enjoyed the trip. It's a little bit of a trip down memory lane for me. I don't have a whole lot of sentiment welling out, but some memories do come back, and that's been sort of pleasant.
Well, this is kind of your Midwestern kind of Protestant conclusion to this. Kind of not just kind of straightforward, just some sentiments, but fuck it. We're just gonna keep on trudging on.
Exactly. And yourself?
I don't know. I wanted something more. I wanted to fucking break fucking through something here and just find something more than I have seen before. Because motherfuckers, like, this is where I fucking drop off shit every fucking day during the week. Now I'm back here and I've walked around here for like 2 hours and I fucking found nothing else. Holy shit. I've fucking seen everything. Fuck it.